If you took a look at the things you use daily, you'd realize that most of them have an expiration date, whether it's food, drinks, or even personal care products. Everything reaches a point where it either spoils completely or just stops doing what it was meant to do when it was fresh and within its shelf life. Expiration dates vary from one item to another, depending on a range of factors: the nature of the product, how it's stored, the conditions of the storage area, and many others. Even though nearly everything around us has an expiration date, most people only pay attention to it when it comes to things we consume, like food or medicine, mainly to avoid food poisoning. But that brings us to an intriguing question. Do poisons have expiration dates like other products? And if they do, what happens when that date passes? Does the toxin inside fade away? Or does it become even more dangerous? Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And if you've got a question you'd like to see in a future episode, drop it down in the comments below. Now back to the question. Before we can answer it, we need to ask, what kind of poison are we talking about? The word poison actually covers a massive range of substances. Technically, a poison is any element or compound capable of damaging living tissue, usually through a series of chemical reactions that happen after the substance enters the body. That can happen through ingestion, inhalation, injection, or even skin contact. And poisons can be either synthetic or natural. So with such a broad definition, we can't treat poison as a single thing or narrow it down to something like rat poison from the pharmacy. The topic is much bigger. If we jump back in time, humans throughout history have discovered hundreds of poisons, and over time we've continued to uncover even more. Because of this vast variety, a 16th century physician named Paracelsus dedicated his life to studying toxins. He left us with a now famous quote: "All things are poison, and nothing is without poison. Only the dose makes a thing not a poison." Sounds strange, but science has proven it true 100%. Even something as essential as water can be toxic. There are documented cases of water poisoning in people who drank excessively, far beyond what their bodies needed. And the same logic can be applied to everything around us. There's actually an entire science that studies poisons. It's called toxicology. And believe me, it's much more complicated than most people think. Scientists sort poisons in different ways. One classification divides them into medicinal poisons, food-related poisons, and neurotoxic poisons. Another classification depends on the physical state of the substance, which includes 4 types: solid, liquid, gas, or vapor. A third classification categorizes poisons according to their origin, as plant-based, animal-based, and other types. Here's a crazy fact. The animal kingdom alone produces more than 220,000 toxins. And the most famous ones? Snake venom, spider venom, scorpion venom. But here's the big question. Does poison expire? Well, that depends on the poison. Let's take the most iconic example: snake venom. Not long ago, a popular Egyptian YouTuber ran a wild experiment. He collected venom from 3 of Egypt's deadliest snakes: the horned viper, the saw-scaled viper, and the Egyptian cobra. He drew his own blood, mixed it with each venom in test tubes. The results were shocking. The horned viper's venom made the blood clot. The saw-scaled viper's venom thinned it out. And the cobra's venom? It didn't change the blood at all. Even within snakes, venoms act in completely different ways. Venom isn't just one poison. It's a cocktail of proteins, enzymes, and compounds. Some snakes even produce multiple types of venom at once. Take the horned viper, for example. Its venom contains at least 13 distinct toxic compounds. All natural venoms are organic poisons. And like anything organic, they break down over time. But not all at once. One protein fades in weeks, another in months, another in years. So if 2 compounds degrade, 11 are still active, still dangerous, still deadly. Eventually, each toxin fades away, one by one. Yes, natural poisons can expire, but not instantly. It's a slow fade, molecule by molecule. Now let's dive into the second part of the question. Does everything we just talked about apply to all poisons? Or only to organic ones? See, what makes organic poisons capable of degrading over time is the chemical makeup. They're composed of molecules containing carbon and hydrogen. These bonds tend to be fragile, easy to break down, and that's why organic toxins eventually lose their potency. But then, we have inorganic poisons. These don't rely on carbon-hydrogen pairs at all. Some might have carbon without hydrogen, or vice versa but without both. They fall outside the organic category. Take lead or arsenic, for example. Both are highly toxic, yet in their inorganic forms, they don't break down like organic compounds do. So, do they have expiration dates? Well, technically, yes, but not in the traditional sense. Substances like lead or arsenic don't just go bad. Instead, they follow what scientists call a half-life, the time it takes for half of a given quantity to decay or become inactive. The compound itself doesn't lose its toxicity. It doesn't change, but its amount decreases slowly over decades. For instance, one isotope of lead-210 has a half-life of over 22 years. If you stored 10 grams of it somewhere today, you'd find about 5 grams left after 2 decades. And yet, each gram would still carry the same toxic power it had on day one. This only applies to inorganic toxins. The moment those same substances are bound to organic compounds, they become part of the degradable world again, and their toxicity can diminish over time. Now let's pivot to something even more curious. Not all poisons fade when they expire. Some get stronger. Take synthetic pesticides used in agriculture. They're designed to kill pests, but manufacturers still place expiration dates on the packaging. Because after that date, the chemical compounds inside may change, often becoming more reactive. According to a study by the University of Michigan, using expired pesticides can lead to plant poisoning. So not only do they harm the pests, they may damage the crops themselves and ultimately, the humans who consume them. This phenomenon isn't limited to pesticides. It happens in human medicine too. Believe it or not, some drugs are synthesized from poisonous compounds. And when they pass their expiration date, they can break down into harmful byproducts that damage vital organs like the liver or kidneys. The problem is that these transformations are unpredictable. The new compounds vary depending on the drug's chemistry. So what's the final takeaway? Not all poisons are the same. Some lose their toxicity over time, others stay exactly the same, and a few actually become even more toxic as time goes on. And with that, we've answered the main question.